Meantime, also in Washington, several people, also including some in wheelchairs, escorted out of the U.S. Capitol in handcuffs after protesting proposed cuts to Medicaid. Our Ross Ketchke live now on Capitol Hill. And Ross, we understand you were there when this protest broke out.
Yeah, Calvin, we saw some of those protesters even laying down on the floor here on the Senate side of the U.S. Capitol complex. The group that they were with was here in Washington protesting the proposed cuts to Medicaid inside what President Trump calls the big, beautiful bill. Protesters at the U.S. Capitol taken away in handcuffs, some of them in wheelchairs. The group pushing back against proposed cuts to Medicaid and the so-called Big Beautiful Bill. The tax cut and spending plan facing fierce pushback from Democrats who say the cuts to Medicaid and other social programs will leave millions of Americans out to dry.
You're cutting Medicaid, food assistance, childcare, making it harder for women to participate in the workforce. All to give tax breaks to people who already have access to all of these things.
A review from the independent group KKF estimates nearly 1 million people in Florida would be at risk of losing their health coverage if the bill is signed into law. And it's not only Democrats pushing back. Some Republicans, including Missouri Senator Josh Hawley, say the current version of the bill would cut critical funding for rural hospitals.
The leader needs to get with the rural hospitals and he needs to satisfy their concerns and make sure that they can stay open.
The sweeping bill is supposed to deliver on President Trump's biggest policy goals by extending tax cuts and increasing funding for defense and immigration enforcement. The White House pressuring lawmakers to get it done.
There's nothing more important that we should be involved in and can be involved in than getting the one big beautiful bill to the president's desk.
Now GOP leaders are on the clock and trying to push ahead to get the bill passed by President Trump's July 4th deadline.
You're looking at whether or not you're going to allow the perfect to become the enemy of the good.
And those changes to Medicaid really just one hurdle for GOP leadership to try to get over right here. Another big one, there are conservatives who feel the current version of the bill simply doesn't do enough to address the growing national debt.
And Ross, lawmakers are closely following some of the shakeups at the CDC and the advisory board for vaccines met earlier today. What is the significance of that meeting?
Yeah, this was the first meeting for that advisory board since the new Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., fired all of the previous members of it. There's now 7 people serving on that panel appointed by RFK Jr. Their first order of business today, doing a new study on 3 common vaccines that are given to American children. The 3 specific vaccines they're looking at are the MMR vaccine, that's a 3-in-1 vaccine, as well as the vaccine for chickenpox and the hepatitis B vaccine. Current CDC guidelines recommend that most American children get all 3 of those shots before they turn 15 months old. Live in Washington, Ross Ketchke, Local 10 News.
A lot of parents watching this. Ross, thank you.